Mating season. It is a phrase that echoes constantly throughout the entire animal kingdom. It implies that there is always a specific, designated window of time where animals primarily focus on reproduction. The exact timing and duration might shift from one species to another, but you can almost say there's a standing tradition, a sort of unspoken biological agreement between every member of a species, whether male or female. It is as if they all received the same internal memo that says, "All right, everyone, mark your calendars. This is the week we all find a partner." But this phenomenon begs a massive question that we really need to answer. Why does a mating season even exist in the first place? I mean, what is actually stopping these animals from mating all year round, whenever they feel like it? And why do some animals live by this strict calendar, while others just seem to go with the flow? You have to remember that animals are, by their very nature, seasonal creatures. Their entire lifestyle depends heavily on the environmental factors surrounding them, simply because nature is never static. The environment is a chaotic, changing beast. One month, the forest might be overflowing with berries, nuts, and prey, and the next month, it could be a frozen, barren wasteland. At certain times, the temperature is mild and perfect for roaming, but a few months later, it might be harsh enough to kill. Sometimes the area is crawling with dangerous predators, and other times it is relatively safe and quiet. So, what does any of this have to do with mating season? Well, animals choose a specific time to mate because they are playing the long game. When they mate at a precise moment, they are ensuring that the mother gives birth weeks or months later, exactly when the environmental conditions are perfect for a baby to survive. You could say that animals are biologically aiming for a target date. They mate now, so the baby arrives when the weather is forgiving. This leads us to a fascinating conclusion. Wild animals instinctively know the duration of their own pregnancy. Based on that internal clock, they reverse engineer the date to ensure their offspring are born when food is abundant in their region, when the weather isn't too harsh for a newborn's fragile body, and when the world is safer for both mother and child. Take deer, for example. In North America, the white-tailed deer usually kicks off mating season known as the rut around October, lasting through mid-December. Since their gestation period is roughly 7 months, the mother gives birth to a fawn or two somewhere between April and late June. This timing is not accidental, it is strategic survival. During this spring window, the weather is mild, which is critical because a newborn fawn has very little body fat and struggles to regulate its own temperature. If it were born in the dead of winter, it would likely freeze to death within hours. Plus, spring offers an explosion of vegetation, which helps the mother produce rich, fatty milk to nurse her fawns effortlessly. You see the exact same logic with birds. Look at the creatures of the Arctic Circle, specifically the snowy owl. These majestic birds synchronize their internal watches annually, so that egg-laying happens in May and hatching occurs in June or July. They don't just pick a time, they pick a place. They choose nesting grounds, surrounded by an abundance of small mammals. So, when the mother owl goes out for a hunt, she returns to the nest not just with a snack, but with an absolute all-you-can-eat buffet of lemmings for her growing chicks. Now, imagine looking down from that snowy owl's nest. Below, on the ice, you might see a polar bear looking absolutely miserable. Why? Because while the owl is feasting, the bear is starving. The rising summer temperatures are melting the ice sheets that bears use as platforms to hunt their favorite meal, seals. And here's the thing about polar bears. They can't survive on snack-sized meals like rabbits or small deer. That lean meat just doesn't cut it. They need high-fat, calorie-dense blubber to fuel their massive bodies against the freezing cold. For a polar bear, sea ice is literally a matter of life and death. That is why, as soon as the ice starts to break up in late spring and early summer, they hustle to find a mate. After mating, the female gorges herself on food, finds a den, and basically locks herself in until she delivers. She stays there, protecting her cubs in the darkness until they are ready to emerge into the light around March or April. Now that we understand the why, we still have a lingering mystery. How do these seasonal animals actually know the mating season has arrived? Do they have a calendar app on their phones? Think about humans for a second. When winter starts creeping in and we feel that first chill in the air, moms everywhere start unpacking the heavy coats and storing away the shorts. We prepare for the season. Animals do the exact same thing, but through biology. The season begins and ends based on their observation of environmental shifts. For instance, as spring overtakes the winter chill, the days get longer. Even if it is just by a few minutes, that extra sunlight triggers the animal's biological clock, signaling that spring is here. These external cues kickstart a cascade of internal biological changes. Specifically, with reproductive hormones, females begin ovulation and males undergo drastic physical and moody transformations. This is why, during mating season, many animals become incredibly aggressive toward anything that moves, especially other males of the same species. And that is just the start of the show. We are talking about bizarre behaviors, elaborate dances, complex songs, releasing strong pheromones, and vibrant color displays. It is a huge production, not to mention the violent clashes between males to show off strength or beauty, all to prove they are ready to be a father. But is every animal stuck on this schedule? Are there animals that just live life large without a calendar? Absolutely. Primates, for example, play by a totally different set of rules. Animals like gorillas, chimpanzees, and orangutans don't have a mating season at all. They are free spirits. They mate whenever they want, all year round. They don't care about the day length, the temperature, or the season. However, here is a crucial nuance. Just because the mating window is always open doesn't mean the female is popping out babies 3 or 4 times a year. A female gorilla, for instance, has no mating season, yet she only gives birth to 1 baby every 4 to 6 years. Lions are similar. A lioness in the wild might only give birth once every 2 years, usually delivering a litter of 2 to 4 cubs. For these animals, hormonal changes happen on a monthly cycle, much like humans, making them physically capable of mating any month of the year. Plus, their social structure plays a huge role. Most primates live in tight-knit social groups, always close to one another, which removes the need for a specific meetup season. The only thing they share with seasonal animals is the power of hormones. Their moods can swing wildly, and they can get extremely aggressive when they want to mate. Take the elephant. Males go through a strange condition called musth. During this time, their testosterone levels skyrocket, sometimes hitting 60 to even 140 times the normal level. The elephant is effectively not himself. He enters a state of constant rage and frenzy. He might attack anything in his path, human or beast. He might even attack a female elephant if she isn't ready to mate. All of this chaos happens without any specific season dictating it. So, let's wrap this up with one final thought. We established that seasonal animals stick to a schedule to protect their babies from harsh weather. So, does that mean animals without a season who just follow their instincts whenever don't care about their kids? Of course not. Just because they don't have a calendar doesn't mean they are bad parents. Mothers in the animal kingdom are universally fiercely protective, often willing to die for their young. The difference is that their environment and their genetics allow them to raise offspring successfully no matter what month it is. And finally, here is a fun irony. Even though we humans don't have a mating season, birth rates around the world often spike in specific months. In the United States, for example, birth rates are surprisingly high in late summer and autumn. It's almost as if the cold winter months are the unofficial American mating season. A study published in 2013 Inches, the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology, actually backed this up with science. They found that sperm quality is actually higher in winter because the cells are less likely to be damaged by heat stress. This was after analyzing over 6,000 samples between the 2 seasons. Of course, this varies by country. Some places see more births in winter, so I guess you could say we have a preference, not a season. That is it for today. Who made it to the very end? If you are still listening, you guys are the real MVPs. Hit that like button before you go so I know how many of you stuck around. And hey, if there's a question that keeps you up at night, something you just can't figure out, drop it in the comments below. We might just answer it in the next video. Peace out.